Hello everyone, today I'm here to introduce my study, Effect of Insufficient Homogenization during the Extrusion of Polyethylene Pipes on Butt Fusion Joint Integrity. In this presentation, I will first give the background of my project, following with the project's objectives. After that, I will talk about my experiment and results. Then I will give a conclusion and finally talk about my future work. There are two manufacture processes of polyethylene pipes. One is single-screw extrusion using pre-compounded material, in which carbon black master batch granules and high-density polyethylene powders are first compounded using a mixer to produce a black pre-compounded HDPE. Then the black HDPE is fed into a pipe extruder to produce a black polyethylene pipe with good homogenization of carbon black and HDPE. Another manufacture process of polyethylene pipes is inline single-screw extrusion, in which a dry mixture of carbon black master batch granules and HDPE powders are fed into a pipe extruder directly to produce a black PE pipe. In this manufacture process, insufficient homogenization may occur because of improper screw design or using improper mixing elements. Although the pipe made by inline single-screw extrusion may seem totally black by naked eye, when cutting a thin layer from the pipe end, some white regions can be seen. If we magnify and focus on one small white region, we can see some white striations or swirls with no carbon black and black regions with high carbon black concentration surround the white striations. These white striations are called windows. The existing of the windows may induce stress concentration, therefore influence the butt fusion joint integrity of polyethylene pipes. What is more, if the bond at the interface between windows and the black regions is weak, the butt fusion joint integrity of PE pipes can be significantly influenced. In addition, the black regions with high carbon black concentration may need to be concerned as well. TWI has done a study of the butt fusion joint integrity of polyethylene pipes containing windows and polyethylene pipes without windows. The tensile test specimens of the pipes without windows all fractured in ductile mode, with high extension to break and energy to break. The test specimens of the pipes containing windows fractured with lower extension to break and energy to break. Some brittle areas existed in their fracture surfaces. In addition, poor welding between melt strands may be a reason of the reduced joint integrity as well. In single-screw extrusion, the molten materials are unavoidable to be separated to melt strands by flowing through some parts like a breaker plate or a mandrel support. For example, in this picture, each sector is a melt strand generated by flowing through a breaker plate. Then these melt strands will be welded together when flow further away. If the welding of these melt strands is poor, the joint integrity of this pipe may be influenced. So the objectives of this study are to develop a method for quantifying the level of windows in polyethylene pipes, then to determine whether there is a relationship between the level of windows and the short-term and long-term mechanical performance of the butt fusion joints of polyethylene pipes. If there is a correlation between the two, then determine the level of windows which does not affect the mechanical performance of butt fusion welded joints and try to determine whether the root cause of reduced mechanical integrity of butt fusion welds is due to poor weld between melt strands, areas with high carbon black concentration, areas with windows, or the interface between the two within the extruded pipe. To achieve the objectives, 5 kinds of PE pipes with different level of windows provided by Broch were welded for mechanical tests. All the pipes were made using the same polyethylene resin, carbon black master batch, and extruder. The different levels of mixing in extrusion process resulted in the different level of windows. All the pipe 1 with no windows were extruded using pre-compounded material with the highest extrusion output rate. All pipe 2 with high level of windows were inline extruded using the same extrusion output rate as pipe 1. All pipe 3 with medium level of windows were inline extruded using the extrusion output rate lower than pipe 2. And all pipe 4 with low level of windows were inline extruded using the lowest extrusion output rate. All pipe 5 with high level of windows were inline extruded using the same extrusion output rate as pipe 2 through a breaker plate. To quantify windows in a test specimen, a 20 by 20 mm square with thickness of 250 plus minus 50 microns was cut at pipe ends to be welded from the positions to extract a specimen. Then, a 10 by 10 mm square was cropped from the highest window region of the 20 by 20 mm ribbon like this. After that, all pixels in the 10 by 10 mm square were converted to black and white pixels based on a grayscale threshold, which is 60. For example, here is a scale bar of the grayscale. The grayscale of pure white is 255, and that of the pure black is 0. If a pixel's grayscale is higher than 60, then it will be converted to a pure white pixel, otherwise it will be converted to a pure black pixel. Finally, the percentage of all the white pixels were calculated as window percentage. So far, 70 welds of pipe 1 to pipe 5 have been made. 30 of them were made for wasted tensile specimens, 30 of them were made for high-speed tensile impact and guided side bend specimens, 10 of them were made for whole pipe tensile creep rupture tests. Here is an example of a joint made for a wasted tensile test. Here is the geometry of a wasted tensile test specimen with the length of 170 mm, width of 50 mm, and a reduced waist in the middle. 2 specimens were extracted from one joint opposite to each other. Here is an example of a wasted tensile test specimen. Now let's have a look at the result of the wasted tensile test. As expected, the average energy to break and the average extension to break of pipe 1 with no windows is the highest. Pipe 4 with low level of windows have the best performance of all pipes containing windows, but the properties of pipe 4 are still a bit lower than those of pipe 1. Pipe 3 with medium level of windows gives a medium performance with large deviation. Pipe 2 and Pipe 5 with high level of windows have the lowest energy to break and extension to break. For the fracture surface of each pipe side, all specimens from Pipe 1 fractured in ductile mode. 11 of the 12 specimens from Pipe 4 fractured in ductile mode. Only 1 specimen fractured in a mixed mode with localized brittle region. All specimens from Pipe 2 and Pipe 5 fractured in brittle mode. 7 of 12 specimens from Pipe 3 fractured in a brittle mode. 1 specimen fractured in the mixed mode, 4 specimens fractured in ductile mode, which corresponds to the high deviation of the tensile data of pipe 3. These results indicate that the mechanical performance of butt fusion joints of polyethylene pipes decreases with the increasing levels of windows. To find the critical level of windows, which does not affect the joint integrity, the average energy to break per cross-sectional area of each pipe side was plotted against the log average window percentage of each pipe side. The highest energy to break per cross-sectional area of the specimens fractured in brittle and mixed mode was selected as the critical energy level. Then the corresponding window percentage in this plot is 0.5%. There are 12 tensile specimens with window percentage lower than 0.5%. 11 of them fractured in ductile mode, only 1 specimen fractured in the mixed mode, so this indicates that 0.5% is a reliable critical window level. In conclusion, the short-term performance of the butt fusion joints of polyethylene pipes decreases with the increasing levels of windows. Only the butt fusion joints of pipe 4 with low level of windows had properties similar to pipe 1 with no windows. The estimated maximum percentage of windows that does not affect the short-term mechanical performance of butt fusion welded joints is 0.5%. The reduction in the short-term butt fusion joint integrity due to insufficient homogenization during the pipe extrusion is not related to poor weld strength between melt strands, because welds in pipe 1 were highly ductile. The root cause of reduced butt fusion joint integrity is therefore either due to areas of high carbon black concentration, areas of windows, or the interface between the two. In the future, in order to determine the root cause of reduced mechanical integrity of butt fusion welds, microtome slices will be cut just below the fracture surfaces of wasted tensile specimens. High-speed tensile impact and guided sidebend specimens will be machined and tested. Whole pipe tensile creep rupture tests will be performed in order to determine the long-term performance of the joints. Wasted tensile specimens will be made from commercial polyethylene pipes containing windows to determine whether welds from the commercial pipes have data points on the same energy to break per unit area versus log window area as the pipes from Broach. Thanks to the funding and support from Coventry University, the National Structural Integrity Research Center, and the Welding Institute. Thank you for your listening, and now is the time for questions.